now, Pushkar Dhami, who lost his election to be Uttarakhand's Chief Minister once again. Pushkar Singh Dhami has been given a second term as the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand today, and that's the breaking news at this hour. He had lost his own seat, Khatima, but clearly the central leadership of the party putting their faith and confidence in him, and their decision really seen as recognition of the 46-year-old who had spearheaded the BJP's campaign that led the party to a second straight term. Let's listen in to some reactions. All right, then let's go across to Sanket Upadhyay, who's monitoring this story. Sanket, surprised?
Well, not at all. Not at all, because this is a very there is a very indelible, unerasable Narendra Modi mark on this decision. It's very clear. And this also goes to show how the BJP conducts itself, that it would rather back its conviction call rather than take a decision which many would think is obvious, that just because he has lost Khatima, then he has no business being the Chief Minister. Someone else will become Chief Minister. In any case, in BJP, the new BJP, anyone can be Chief Minister, and there is a great surprise element to it. But the BJP, the Prime Minister, in his meeting late last night, may have decided, and it's very clear that this decision has come from New Delhi, that he would rather back and go with a conviction call of backing Mr. Pushkar Singh Dhami in order to keep the faction-ridden Uttarakhand unit in place. You see, Uttarakhand is a very peculiar problem for the BJP, and they faced this problem 3 times over, and yet they won the elections. That's because of smart maneuvering of the BJP early on. So you had Mr. Triveni Singh Rawat. There were allegations that he does not listen to anyone. He's got a mind of his own. He lets the bureaucrats run the show. MLAs have no say. And then, of course, COVID happened, COVID handling, and the BJP ended up taking a decision. Even then, we clearly remember that there was lots and lots of talk of various factions, largely to one is the traditional BJP leadership, strong roots in the RSS style of functioning, very, very organization-driven people, and then another lot which came in from the Congress party, which wanted to make a mark for themselves, would really wanted a chief minister from their camp to be at the helm. However, in all the decisions that were taken, when Mr. Triveni Rawat was removed and Tirath Rawat was brought in, he was an MP. He was brought in simply to handle this crisis, of faction crisis. And then eventually, in a matter of a few months, the BJP realized that this para-dropping may not really work. And thus, the Khatima MLA, the then Khatima MLA, a very young 46-year-old Pushkar Singh Dhami, was made in charge. He delivered, along with the BJP's might and muscle, he delivered Uttarakhand but lost his own seat. It is because the BJP wanted to avoid a situation where you come up with a surprise again, there'll be chaos again, then you will have to rush these observers again, that the BJP has now decided, no surprises, we'll continue to back our man, our candidate who led us to this victory. If a decision has to be taken in the future, one does not know whether that will happen or not. But as of this moment, the BJP feels that no surprise sort of a policy will help them tide through this problem of the various factions. Now, it will be very interesting to see who will be Mr. Dhami's men and women as far as his cabinet is concerned. How will he select his candidate? How many members of this cabinet will be from the traditional BJP MLAs, who have their roots in the RSS, and how many of this neo BJP MLAs who came in or walked in from the Congress party last time in 2017. So this is going to be very interesting, and the reason why I say this is because this is going to decide the longevity of Mr. Dhami's tenure, that how easily and convincingly can he manage the factions for a complete 5 years. See, last time when he was brought in at the helm, the party as well as the state was going into an election. So everybody was going into an election, all the factions were also going into an election, so there was a common purpose to keep the fight away. But now that there are 5 years ahead of Mr. Dhami, how convincingly will he manage his cabinet and the various factions in the cabinet is going to decide on the longevity of his tenure.
All right, so the BJP's dilemma, the subsequent 11-day suspense finally broken by Rajnath Singh, who was a central observer. He just spoke a little while ago. Let's listen in, Sanket, and then I'll come back to you for more.
मैं पुष्कर धामी को अपनी तरफ से बधाई देता हूं और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि इनके नेतृत्व में उत्तराखंड तेजी के साथ विकास करेगा। क्या कर रहे हैं? और मैं आश्वस्त हूं कि उत्तराखंड केवल तेजी के साथ विकास ही नहीं करेगा, बल्कि उत्तराखंड का एक बहुआयामी विकास होगा, ऐसा मेरा विश्वास है।